The interesting thing about the Radio Flyer Loop is that on paper, it already checks most of the important cargo bike boxes. Hydraulic brakes, torque sensing assist, suspension fork, integrated turn signals, all paired with a 750-watt motor. But once we actually started riding it, the biggest difference was not really the spec sheet. It was how easy the bike felt to move around in regular situations. Turning it, storing it, even slower speed riding all felt much less intimidating than expected for a cargo platform. So let's talk about how this thing actually feels to ride. Even during assembly, you immediately notice this bike feels more manageable than a lot of cargo bikes. It's still heavy, of course, but the shorter frame helps a lot while moving it around and setting everything up. The folding stem also makes a bigger difference than expected because once folded down, the bike suddenly feels much easier to store or position in tighter spaces. And once fully built, the size honestly feels pretty smart. It still looks like a proper cargo bike, but it does not have that oversized, stretched out feeling some long-tail bikes have. Riding position feels natural too because the low step-through frame makes getting on and off really easy, especially once cargo or passengers are involved. Payload capacity is 440 pounds total, while the rear rack alone supports 220 pounds, so this thing is still built to carry serious weight. 2 kids on the back feels completely realistic here. The overall setup also feels clean without trying too hard. Integrated front and rear lights, rear turn signals, suspension fork, reflective cargo tires, Shimano Altus 8-speed drivetrain. Everything feels practical and easy to understand. Then you have the accessories. The Cubby Kit and Cubby Caboodle basically turn the rear into a full kid carrying setup with extra protection around passengers. The XL front goodie basket is honestly larger than expected in person. And smaller things like the catch-all bag and bottle holder just make daily riding feel more convenient. This is really where the loop started making sense to us. The moment you start pedaling, the torque sensor immediately feels smoother than cheaper cadence-based systems. The bike responds based on how hard you pedal, so power delivery feels much more natural instead of suddenly kicking forward. And honestly, the first thing we noticed while riding was how easy the bike feels at slower speed. Cargo bikes can sometimes feel awkward below 10 miles per hour, especially during tighter turns or stop-and-go traffic. But the shorter frame here keeps everything feeling much calmer and easier to control. Mode 1 feels very relaxed, almost like a regular bicycle with a gentle push behind you. We were cruising around 8 to 10 miles per hour there, and it felt great for neighborhood roads or tighter streets. But once we bumped into Mode 3 and 4, the whole bike woke up pretty quickly. Suddenly the loop starts cruising around 16 to 20 miles per hour without much effort, and you feel the 750-watt rear hub motor pulling much harder underneath you. Hills also become way less stressful there, especially with extra cargo on board. What we like though is that the power still feels smooth even at higher assist. The bike never suddenly jerks forward or feels twitchy. It stays predictable. The thumb throttle also helps more than expected. At traffic lights or slower starts, especially with weight on the rear rack, using the throttle first makes balancing the bike feel easier before fully pedaling. And even though this is still a heavier bike, once moving, it honestly hides the weight pretty well. The motor has enough torque that the bike rarely feels sluggish. Now obviously, quick direction changes still remind you this is a cargo platform. Crosswinds affect it more than a normal commuter bike too. But overall, the compact frame helps the bike feel much more manageable than most cargo bikes we've tested around this size. The suspension fork also softens rough pavement nicely without making the steering feel disconnected, while the wider Kenda cargo tires help stabilize the bike once weight gets added to the rear. And then there are the brakes. These Magura hydraulic brakes are honestly one of the strongest parts of the whole bike. 4 piston calipers with huge 203mm rotors give the loop really confident stopping power. And once you start carrying passengers or groceries, that matters a lot. At lower speeds, braking feels smooth and controlled. Then closer to 20 miles per hour, the bike still stays stable under harder braking, instead of diving aggressively forward. Range is rated around 30 to over 50 miles depending on assist level, terrain, rider weight, and cargo load. And honestly, those numbers feel believable. Lower assist riding stretches the battery pretty well, while Mode 4 and heavy throttle use drain it noticeably faster, which is expected on a cargo bike with this much weight and power. The battery itself removes pretty easily with the key, and underneath, there's actually hidden space for an AirTag. Small detail, but honestly a smart one. And talking about its full color display, it is very easy to read while riding and quickly shows speed, assist level, battery percentage, and ride information without feeling cluttered. Controls are straightforward too. Plus and minus buttons change assist levels, while separate controls handle lights and turn signals. There's also weatherproof storage built into the frame area under the seat and battery section, which feels genuinely useful for everyday stuff instead of just decorative storage. The tech side of the Loop stays pretty simple overall, which honestly fits the bike well. And honestly, the turn signals become more useful than expected once you actually ride this thing in traffic, because hand signals on a cargo bike can feel awkward pretty quickly. Nothing here feels overloaded with unnecessary smart features. It still feels like a bike first. After spending time with the Loop, we honestly think Radio Flyer understood something important here. Most people do not actually want a giant cargo bike that feels difficult every time they ride it. They want something practical enough for kids, groceries, errands, and daily riding, but still approachable enough that they actually enjoy using it regularly. And that's exactly where the Loop works well. The compact frame makes a huge difference in daily usability, while the 440-pound payload capacity still gives it real cargo bike capability. Then features like the Magura hydraulic brakes, torque sensor, folding stem, integrated lights, and turn signals help the bike feel more refined than a lot of options around this price. $3,000 is still serious money, of course. But if you specifically want a cargo e-bike that feels easier to live with without losing real usefulness, the Loop honestly feels very well balanced. That was all. Thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more bike reviews and comparisons.